Ennaku z'omwezi nga 18 mu nsi yonna omwezi ogwa May, amakadizo gonna mu ggwanga oba kye tuyita museums mu lufuutifuuti gagezaako okubanga gajaguza mu mbeera eno okubanga amakadizo gano gabeerawo nga gatereka ebintu eby'enjawulo. N'olunaku olwaleero tuli ku kaddiizo ekkulu erya Uganda oba litunutanga Uganda Museum. Bagenda kubanga bajaguza emyaka egiwerako ng'ennaku z'omwezi 18. Tukuleetedde bingi bye tugenda okubanga tukulaga mu museum. Ebimu ku ebyo tusazeewo tukulageeyoko ebitonotono ebisinga obukulu tugenda okubanga tukulaga. Tugenda kubanga tubikulamuza tukulage kikyomanyi emmotoka abapresident ze baali batambuliddemu ozimanyi zirezo zibenzi empanvu ezo. Olunaku olwali tuzikuleetedde wano ku Star TV Munyenye Gwanga nange omuweerezaawo ajjukira olunaku olw'omukaaga essaawa ziba 2 ez'akawungeezi mwe tukulambuza eggwanga Uganda. Olunaku olwaleero tuli ku kaddiizo ekkulu erya Uganda ly'emmanyi nga Uganda Museum. Bagenda kubanga bajaguza mixing nga 2 maaso awo. Kateetolemu temuvaawo.
My name is Ngabirano Vincent. I'm Conservation Officer, Uganda National Museum. You are most welcome. I'm so grateful to host you at this moment in time. And most important of all is to brief you about the historical background of the museum and the actual content of the museum as a whole. Now, to begin with, this is the history of Uganda Museum, and the museum dates far back in 1908, and this write-up you see, it is original circular concerning the founding of the museum in 1908. It was written by a deputy governor by the names of Wilson on behalf of the first governor of Uganda by the names of Sir Heskes Bell. As I've said, it began in 1908 at Fort Rugard. Fort Rugard is 5 kilometers away from the city center, and now it's adjacent to Gaddafi National Mosque. At that time, Fort Rugard was served as the first colonial administration office. Then when the colonialists shifted it to Entebbe, they left it empty, and then they had to ensure that the museum, the first museum, should be housed there. This is the picture of the house where the museum began from, of Fort Rugard. And when you go there, or we happen to visit there, still it's in original form. It was at Fort Rugard in 1908. Then from 1942, because the corrections were abundant enough and they were increasing from time to time, they took it to Makerere University. But still, museum number 1, that's where it began from. Then museum number 2, here they are showing a view of the interior, how the museum was at that time. So in 1942, as I've earlier mentioned, that it was taken to Makerere University. It was there for 2 years when they were preparing the place at Chitantehiru. In 1954, the museum was shifted from Makerere University to its present place where it still stands today, the Chitantehiru. So now, you can see this picture here. It shows how the museum was at Makerere in 1942 to 1953. This is what it shows. Then the picture number 3, it shows how the museum, when it was shifted from there to Chitantehiru, how it was. And here it shows how the museum in its complete form as early as 1972. So it was first at Rugard, fourth at Old Kampala, 1942, taken to Makerere University. Then it was brought at this place in 1954. Thank you.
Munange ebintu bitegedde bagezezzaako okubanga batunyonyola history w'ekifo kino bwazaafaanana ne bwazatambula. Batugambye nti museum ennyini yatandikira wali ku fort Kodi Kampala wali muzikiti gwa Gaddafi Mosque, basobola okubanga etandikira nevaawo negenda bitundu by'Entebbe, oluvannyuma negenda Makerere neryoka ekolaki neryoka ejja wano mu kifo kyayo ekyankalakalira. Abadde atunyonyola bingi nnyo engeri gye zeetambulamu. Nejjukira nti omulamwa gafuna ku lwaleero ennaku z'omwezi nga 18 omwezi guno gwennyini gwe tulimu, lunaku lwa makaddiizo mu ggwanga, era nga lino lye kaddiizo ekkulu erisangibwa mu ggwanga. Tugenda kubanga tweyongerayo ate batulage n'ebisingako awo. Katukomewo.
So this is the showcase that showcases what we had. All this showcase is about peace and progress in Uganda. And we have the picture in its original form of the first Ugandans ever to study abroad. And they were Baganda younger boys, and at that time were recruited by the Catholic missionaries under the White Fathers Society, which is a religious order in the Catholic Church. And the White Fathers, according to history of Uganda, they were the very people who pioneered formal education in Uganda. You can see the pictures, the younger boys. And at first they were recruited and taught how to read and how to write. Then eventually they were taken to Tunisia that time That's where the headquarters of the White Fathers were. And later on, they were received by the Pope, who advised these White Fathers to recruit these younger men to become teachers, priests, and doctors as well. So that photograph was taken as early as 1894, when Uganda became a British protectorate. Yes. Now, this is the printing press which was donated to Uganda by Frederick Limited Company, Limited of England, as early as 1876. It was donated by the Church Missionary Society and it was brought here in Uganda, and later it was assembled by Alexander Mackay. Alexander Mackay was representing the Church Missionary Society. He was an engineer, he was a carpenter, and actually he was the one who pioneered vocational education in Uganda to aid the young learners to know how to read and understand. So the vivid examples of the books which were written and the original ones are here. These are the ones. The other one, the picture of that structural architectural design, it was of 1950s. It is a traditional architecture which was very predominant in central Uganda here. Then when you look at these ladies, the first ladies putting on Rubogo, and that time Rubogo was very, very, very important. That was before the coming of the Europeans and Arabs, because the Baganda, are believed to be the founding fathers of Baka cloth making, and everything that the women put on and men were out of Baka cloth making. So this one served as the first uniform of the Gayaza Girls' School. Later on, when they introduced the clothes, they changed it from Baka cross to Suka, and later to Busyuti, which is now popularly known as Gomez. Gomez, it was named Gomez because it was named after Gomez, who was an Indian tailor who amended this kind of type of dress. And now it is almost becoming a national dress. Parliament of Uganda as eras and early days, and here they are showing us the Rubaga Hill, which served as the palace of the Kabaka. And present day, that's where the cathedral of the Roman Catholic Church stands. So the Kabaka donated it to the missionaries, the White Fathers. Then down here, this map shows us the missions, the schools, the hospitals in Uganda as early as 1910. As you look at the map clearly, it shows us how the different missions were established across the country, schools, hospitals, and of course, they were Catholics and Protestants. To me, I normally call it was a heresy competition. When the Catholics would put this one, like for example, Mount St. Mary's and Magunga Girls' School, then the Protestants or the Anglicans put the Gayaza Girls' School. Actually, the first girls' school in Uganda was Gayaza Girls' School or Gayaza High School. So when you look at the key, CMS stands for Church Missionary Society, Anglicans, then RSM stands for Roman Catholic Missionaries. So now when you look at this, they are spread across the country in different numbers. That means that's the health competition I was talking about. This period means when the Christianity was conflicting with the church, traditional religion. When you look at this letter on behalf of the Kabaka, asking the missionaries to come to Uganda, and this is the original letter. So he published it in 1875 as in a daily telegram, and he wanted to unveil what was actually happening in Uganda here, And it shows that Uganda, that time, maybe Buganda, was in dire need of missionaries, because he had cited some challenges, the diseases, the what, there were no schools, there were no. So this is the letter which was written by Henry Martin Stanley on behalf of Kabaka, asking for the missionaries to come. But there was ulterior motive. The Kabaka wanted the missionaries to come because he wanted them to protect him from his kingdom, because there was a threat which was coming from North Africa, because the British had already established their base in Egypt. So they were threatening his kingdom. So he wanted actually the man in power to help him to repulse the Khedive Ismail of Egypt. The beginning of Uganda. Now, the beginning means it's not that the beginning, it was beginning, no. It is just when the foreigners started coming. Uganda was in existence. So we are saying the beginning. So the simple history. The first foreigners to enter Uganda were Arabs. They were followed by explorers. That was John Speke and James Grant, as early as 1860 to 1863. And Henry Martin Stanley, 1874 to 1877, and Sir Samuel Baker. Those were vivid examples of the explorers. Then the explorers were followed by the missionaries. And the first missionaries to arrive in Uganda were Anglicans. Then later on followed by the Catholic missionaries. Later on, after the missionaries were followed by the colonialists, and eventually the European traders. Now, these items you see before you, these are the imported items which was brought by the Arabs. They brought in clothes, they brought in guns, and cow shells and copper wires. The cow shells were the first money in East Africa or in Uganda. It was seized in circulation in 1903 when the Indians introduced the Indian rupees. Then they would take some other items, the exports from us. They would take salt, they would take slaves, ivory, and tortoise shells. Of course, we couldn't bring a human being there, but this is the symbol, the arm bangle, which was used to tie the slaves. So this is the example of it. So it is like a chain, it is very heavy, and this is how our people suffered. So here they are trying to show us how the people entered Uganda. By if I am to go by title, the peopling of Uganda, how people entered Uganda from different directions. The first group entered Uganda on 10th century. This was Bantu tribe, Bantu group, which occupied the parts of western Uganda up to the eastern Uganda. Of course, we have vivid examples of the Bantu speaking people in western Uganda. We have the Banyankole, we have the Bachiga, we have the Bahima, and we have the Bakonjo, we have the Batoro, we have the Banyoro, and in eastern we have the Bagweri and we have the Bagisu. And the arrows, the other black arrows, those two arrows, the black arrows, they are showing how other people entered Uganda through the northern Uganda and occupied the parts of northwestern Uganda. We have the Rugbar, we have the Kakwa, we have, and among others. Then these ones originated from southern Sudan near Bahairu Gazeru River, according to history. And we have the Luo and the occupied areas of eastern Uganda, the Tororo, and we have some of them in Kenya. So the years in the Rugbar or the Nairohamites, Plain Nilotes, the Lange and the others, they entered Uganda around 15th century and 16th century, the Ruas. So the biggest tribe in Uganda, of course, are the Bantu-speaking people. And this map here, in a showcase, it is an interpretation of the other one, which shows us actually the people settled and where they are still found in Uganda. We have the map shows the important water bodies that we have, Lake Victoria, which is East Africa, but anyway, it's all East Africa. So they show us Lake Albert, they show us, the map shows us Lake Kyoga, and the mountains which are actually making like, acting like natural boundaries. We have Mount Rwenzori, which forms a natural boundary between Uganda and DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo. And we have Mount Elgon, which forms a natural boundary between Uganda and Kenya. So the people living on the slopes of Mount Elgon, they are Basoga people, or they are Basoga group. Yes, then we have, of course, our major and important river, River Nile, which originates from here up to moves to northern Uganda. Then here, museum is very interesting. This is the history. You can get it anywhere else. So this is the early transport in Uganda. These are the Arab doors. This green color shows the water body. The water body, it is a symbol. And you can see the map of East Africa, how the foreigners entered Uganda. As per key here, the routes used by Speke, Baker, Samthon. Now they are showing us that some started from Bagamoyo, then Mombasa, and they moved up to Mengo, which was the seat of the king. Because that time, you would not move to someone's territory without the permission. Another explorer moved from North Africa to occupy the western part of Uganda. That was Baker. And from Gondokoro. Gondokoro today is Chuba, the capital of southern Sudan. Yeah. Other means of transport, of early transport. Earlier on, I showed you this Rubaga here. They were doing Burungi Bugans. You see how people were modernized. You can see the Maram roads. You can see the caravan in the Gondokoro, as I earlier mentioned. You can see the transport among the Banyoro people, the litter, the stretcher, which was used to carry the kings and other people. Then we have early transport systems, transport of goods, the Batra, southwestern Uganda, and western Uganda, southwestern Uganda, and we have the Bahima, how they use it to carry their milk goods. So these are the Arab doors which were moved to ship the slaves from East Africa to outside the world, moved by the monsoon winds as per this crossing. Sometimes when runners do come here, and other people, we normally tell them the definition of what a museum is, as the institution where objects of historical, cultural, artistic, and scientific interests are shown to the public. Now, this is the area of scientific interests. We have, before that, we normally call this one, it is a general museum. Some countries, they say there are specific museums, but this one is a general museum. We have everything. We have cultural, we have scientific, we have artistic objects, and many others. So now here in Uganda, these are Ugandan insects which are found in the environment. We have the moth, we have the spiders, we have the bees, we have the wasps, we have grasshoppers, we have the butterflies, and even this, the parts of insects, because the runners do come here to learn about these parts of the insects. Yes, that's why it is for learning. It is learning, the museum is for learning purposes. And we have examples of lake fish which are in this showcase, as you can see, the tilapia and the Nile perch, and among others. So we have also this showcase. There are so many showcases, but I have identified a few. These are the birds, and this one, it shows that the birds are also very important, and we should not kill birds, and we should protect them because they are useful to us. And such a birds, they do attract tourists. The birds can eat some harmful insects, and birds are here for study purposes. So they are very, very, very important creatures which should be protected. This actually beautiful animal called impara. It is very, very, very important to note that this is where the name Kampala came from. The Kampala was named after this animal impara. So it was full of imparas, so they call it Kampala, meaning a place of imparas. So there it is. And we have the pangolin, which normally moves during the night. You can see it there. See the redback, which lives in swamp areas. That's why there is now a common talk which is very, very important to people, that we should protect the environment, that we should not drain the wetlands, because some animals which dwell there, they fail to get where they can be protected. So therefore, the wetlands are supposed to be protected in favor of such animals and the climate and climatic reasons. earlier I told you that a museum is very important to the society, and now where we are is Transport Gallery, which was constructed in 2018, purposely to house the vehicles of important persons, but of course number one, the president, and these are presidential cars. To begin with, this was the Idi Amin Dada's Benz from 1971 to 1972, 79. So it's here. You can see it's a bit in Gwamshakur form, but working hard to make sure that we repair them because they are for important people. And next time, I think after 1 year, they will be on road so that if a visitor comes, we can have a drive of presidential and have that presidential feel. Then this one, drawn to the late President Milton Obote. He used it in 1981 to 1985. So it is a Mercedes-Benz and a bulletproof car. So when you touch it, you feel it. Why do we keep these presidential cars here? The major purpose is that we keep them for a national value, and two, to inculcate learners or younger generation the spirit of patriotism. Yes. So this is limousine. This is a limousine car, which was the President Museveni's ceremonial car in 1990s. It is also a bulletproof car, and this car was used by Pope John Paul II when he visited Uganda in 1993, when he visited Namugongo Shrine. Yeah. This is the cross-country Benz. It is the first car that President Museveni used when he came to power in 1986. I think that time he was the only one. It is bulletproof. It has a different design inside it, and the other cars, the other cars, they do have the same. But of course, technology keeps on changing from time to time. There is a glass in between. When the principal is communicating, the driver can't listen to what the principal is communicating about. As like I said, technology changes from time to time. It has a camera which detects danger within a distance of 50 kilometers ahead and behind that camera. And this car has a fire extinguisher inside it. So when we talk about the fire extinguisher, all people know what it means. Yeah. This one is also President Museveni's car, which was of course, they were purchased by all of them were purchased by the government of Uganda, but this one were purchased in a pair. It came as one pair, and they have the same makeup with the other one. They are bulletproof car, and the same camera, which detects danger within a distance of 50 kilometers ahead and behind. Yeah. This one is Okay, once again, still on the museum. Museum is a very, 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 very important institution in the country, every country world over. And some countries abroad have no national parks and they earn livings from, they get revenue through museums. Museums are very, very, very important. And ours is very, very important because it is a summary of the 65 tribes that are mentioned by Supreme Law of Uganda, that's the Constitution. And we normally commemorate the International Day, Museums International Day on 18th May, and the preparations are underway. As I talk of now, the meetings are ongoing. National planning committees in the education hall, planning for that important day of 18th May. So on 18th May, we normally have, of course, we have many, many visitors, the school children, the secondary school students, the lecturers, and among others. They discuss the importance of museum. They discuss about major activities and issues in our country, but not in politics, because for us, we say a museum, we are not politicians, but for us, our mandate is to protect and to preserve our cultural heritage. So the discussions and the workshops and what, they are not based on political issues. So on 18th May, we have activities, we have the quiz for schools. They normally converge here, and we formulate questions which are relevant, based on science, based on history, based on our museum, and among others. The theme of Museum's Day of 18th May 2022 is very short and very, very, very interesting. The international theme is the power of the museum. Then for us in Uganda, we have adapted ours, we have added something which I can call a spice, saying the power of the museum in conserving our culture. Because our culture must be conserved, and it is our mandate, we, the museum people, to conserve our cultural heritage. Now, on 18th May, there will be a lot of activities. We have already, we are in preparations. The school quiz, we have the marching from where the museum started at Fort Rugard, with the brass band and with, of course, the school children and all well-wishers who would wish to participate with us. You are most welcome. So we shall begin from Fort Rugard, then to Makerere, where it was housed, then finally at Uganda National Museum. Then we shall have the presentations and discussions based on the importance of the museums to our society and, of course, the power. To create awareness that the museums are very, very powerful institutions in given countries. So we shall have, as I've said, the presentations. We shall have the quiz, the school quiz. We shall have the traditional performances from selected cultures or tribes. They will come to do their performances here. Then, of course, we have the chief guest is expected to be His Excellency the President of Uganda, who will be officiate that occasion.
Probably there are other museums around Uganda. What is the way forward for them? Are they also joining this place, or they will be celebrating their own?
That is a very good question. Other museums will celebrate in their respective places. We have what we call the regional museums. We have Soroti Museum in Eastern Uganda and Moroto Museum in Karamoja. We have Kabbalah Museum in southwestern Uganda, and this one which is in central Uganda. So they will celebrate in their respective places, but under one theme. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Nange ebintu bitegedde bagezezako kubanga batunyonyola olunaku lugenda kubanga lukwate ennaku z'omwezi 18 omwezi ogwa May omwaka guno. Weeks nga bbiri okuva katwe tuli. The power of the museum gwe mulamwa gw'olunaku gw'ensi yonna, naye ffe tulina naffe mulamwa gwaffe kwe tugenda okubanga tutambulizaako, naye nga tusinze kubanga twettanira bya buwangwa nanno okubanga tutumbula ebintu byaffe ebyedda ku Uganda Museum. Omwaka ogwedde twaliko wano tubalaga emikolo nga bwe gyali. N'olunaku olwaleero tugenda kuddamu ali tubatambuze paka ku lunaku lunyininyini olugenda okubanga lukolezebwako lujaguzaako amakadizo gano mu ggwanga. Sigenda kubanga asingako olunaku olwaleero. Njagala okwebaza bannange bwe twatambula nabo, Mike Sabali ku kamera wamu ne Omalumwonge okubanga tukuletedde ekifaananyi ekyo ku Uganda Museum. Negamba nti naawe ke kaseera obeere nga osobola okujja olambule museum nga bwefaana. Mulimu ebintu bingi, emmotoka muzirabe ez'aba President Idi Amin okutera ku Idi Amin paka kwona aliwo essaawa zino emmotoka zonna zonna we ziri mu ggwanga Uganda. Musule bulungi, mweraba.